If you're listening to this and you're not a Gen Z, you might want to turn this off.
Trigger warning.
Well, welcome to Beyond the Base podcast, and this is a podcast by Gen Zs, for Gen Zs, and anyone else who cares to listen, where we talk about business, culture, technology, and the world as a whole through young Nigerian Gen Zs. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Base podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Base Manolu, and I'm also here with my co-host, Ibidapo.
Actually, I'm not the main character, but we'll call me Ibidapo for today.
Yeah, and today we have a special guest in our midst, my very good friend, Grace James. She's the winner of the Stanbic IBTC Fuze Talent show that took place last year, and she's one of the most amazing people I know. She does a lot of things, actually, but I'd like to introduce her. Right, she's a social impact advocate, and she also runs a company. Her startup is called Green Quest, and they are a game studio that focuses on Afrofuturistic games, and they also use that as an avenue to teach children and anyone who plays games actually about climate change and sustainability. So welcome, Grace.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's really nice to have you.
This is Nigeria. Corruption, like you said, in a way we can use desperation and cool to excuse a lot of things, but the level of stealing, corruption, it happens everywhere, from government to banks to even people that have come out on social media. They're selling perfume in their shop. Their sales girls carried like almost 100,000 naira worth of perfumes from the collection they are selling. Stolen it. She's selling it on her WhatsApp. No, what's the excuse you want to give? Is it government there? Somebody gave you a good job. All these things, like Nigeria's problems are just too many. Right, so I don't want us to use the whole episode
to talk about
that. So
I would like for us to, start talking about solutions. And seeing as Grace,
I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, seeing as Grace is a startup founder, and from her own point of view, she wants to use her company, if I'm getting it right, to educate young children, young adults, and gamers about climate action, which is some sort of her way of providing a solution to a problem. So how has that been like for you? How has that... What made you start it?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. So how I decided to found my startup was, growing up, I enjoyed playing games. I used to play a lot of games with my siblings, and that was just basically how we connected. That was how we related on a lot of things, like bragging rights, healthy competition. So it was just something that we enjoyed doing, and that was like a bulk of my childhood. And when I found out about climate change, it was like I was already like in 400 level or so, like almost finishing school, and I was just like, damn, like I'm learning about this. I think I found out about climate change shortly after COVID hit. And I'm like, Jesus, like there's just like so many, like so if we actually survive COVID, we still have like a bigger battle behind us too. So I felt I felt really overwhelmed. I think because we did have a lot of time, like throughout is it the COVID break now, to like really think, and then I just used that time to really think about, so if I'm just learning about this and it's so important, how can I share this knowledge in a way that resonates with people, like everyday people, and not in a way that necessarily just overwhelms them with information, but in a way that they can actually see themselves as actors, like as part of the solution. And did a lot of design thinking, basically like on how to like balance education and entertainment, because a lot of people want to learn things, but they don't necessarily want to learn it like the traditional way of exactly. And that's basically how I decided to use games. And so far the journey has been crazy. I mean, because it's not like I had all the answers like immediately. I literally had to like figure out things as I went on, and it has been really insightful. And anytime we go to schools and then we see the way the children are so excited, oh my God, it's a blessing. So
because I remember when we were on IT, that was back in 2021. Yeah, and my friend Samuel, he interned with you at the company where you did your internship, right? And one day he just told me that, oh, he's working with you now, and you guys are building a game. I said, game. Samuel,
Which Samuel?
Oh, really? Samuel, what do you know about building games? Right?
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. I remember that.
And then he told me a bit more about what you guys were building, and seeing how far it has come now is really inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
Because again, like over here, we need more innovative solutions, right? And also things that change people's mentality or perception of things, because a lot of our problems are perception problems. Some things we don't even realize are perceptions, right? We don't realize our bad points of view to a lot of things. To the average Nigerian, what is climate change? So funny story. So the baseline is a blog, right? So we write stories, and sometime last year, I had a discussion with a lady that works for the New York Times, right? She's an American, I think Charlie Brown or so. Where do you want me? Right? And she was in a story, right? She was in a story for the New York Times. I think they also wanted to link it to Forbes or so. But it was on how the average Nigerian child thinks about climate change. We're looking for children from like age 12 to 13, 14. So I reached out to different NGOs in my circle, and I really wanted grassroots. I did not want you to go and bring somebody from Rainbow College or Pampas that is paying 2 million naira per term or so. Of course, that one will know what climate change is now. Yeah, in the 1% of 1%. I wanted to go to grassroots, and for some of them, we're getting children from Ogun State in Gomode Grammar School, right? And trying to get, how many of you actually know these things? And it was heartbreaking, man. I can't lie.
Tell me.
Climate change is like.
And this is something that actually affects them.
Right?
On
And
a
again,
daily
it shows the
basis.
huge gap we have in the educational sector. Like, that's one sector I'm very passionate about. It's like, education in Nigeria is a disappointment compared to where we should be.
And funny enough, I've had like so much pushback because a lot of people are like,
Pushback? Why?
I'm getting there. I've had like so much pushback because people are like, okay, climate change. Why are you using games? Because a lot of people are already used to like the traditional way. But they've forgotten that there's something like called gamification.
Yeah.
They've forgotten that there's something about psychology of reward. And like there's so many ways to motivate people without like the traditional way of doing things. And sometimes people pick up messages even like in the smallest things. I was talking to one of my friends and he was telling me about a game that he played, and he learned how to drive a Formula 1 car with that particular game because the whole experience was like so immersive. Like that's the beauty about games.
You shouldn't go and try it.
It's very like games are so powerful because it's very immersive. Your attention is there. The adrenaline, exactly. You're excited. It's fun. It's exciting, and then you're picking up little cue tips and like cues from it, and it's one of the best ways. I genuinely, for somebody like me, right, I definitely wish I had something like that because growing up, because kids literally, I was speaking to the headmaster of the school and he was telling me that the next weekend people were rushing to school because your school, you guys are playing games there,
and that's
children
what I
to be there.
love. Like that's what something that I wish for, that in this country, aside all the things I wish for this country, that children they want to go to school to learn. They want to, and that's one of the reasons why I'm actually doing what I'm doing. So like I said, I think I've said it on my Instagram that I quit my 9 to 5 to go to chase my passion, and my passion is football. Not that I'm playing football, but I want to use football exactly as a channel to empower people. Exactly. So the way that you're using games to teach children, I also want to be able to use football to enable children like
follow your passion.
Exactly. Because when we were growing up, it was either lawyer, doctor, engineer.
Funny enough, I never knew what I wanted to be in future. I swear, I was that child. My sister would be like, I want to be a doctor. This one say, I want to be a lawyer. And then they ask me, I'm like,
I don't know.
At some point, then I discovered Dangote and I realized that, this is somebody that has like multiple. I said, yeah, I want to be like Dangote.
Yeah, so like the fact that
I wanted to be an astronaut.
Oh my god.
Really?
I had that phase too.
Do you know that you can still do it?
Really?
Yes, you can still, like, I'm the type of person that I think that you can chase any dream. Like human beings can reinvent themselves. You can chase any dream you want. For me, for instance, as much as I want to be a fat pocket, but I want to, in my house, I have a dream of having like a whole room of paintings that I paint, because I actually like art. I like design. I like painting, that I paint. I also want to learn how to write music just because
Oh
I
my
want
God,
to
you know
do
this,
it.
what you're saying right now makes so much sense because people like to keep people in boxes.
Exactly.
And I feel
I struggle with that a lot.
exactly like human beings are creative. At some point, I've stopped putting on my Instagram. I removed from founder to creative because a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't even put anything again.
Because a lot of people, when they hear, okay, they want you to do one thing
Yeah,
and
they
just
expect it to be in that
but-
box. I suffer that thing a lot.
Oh
I know I naturally have had a very serious outlook to life, and then coming out of school where I know we went to a very conservative school anyway, so
Yeah.
like me, I was just focused on how do we make this money,
Yeah, chase the money.
right? But then coming out and trying to explore other parts of my life and do other things, and people are like, "Ah, this is so off-brand for you." The time I did calls, somebody was like, "What's happening? Are you going through a life crisis?" I said, "Jesus,
Bro,
Christ."
you're 20 something years old. You should explore. Like, you
Exactly.
shouldn't have everything figured out.
It's sad how much, because if you look at the greats of old, the Da Vinci's, and so many, they did so many other
Different things.
Yeah.
Like, because your mind can do so much. And there's something she even mentioned that really hurts me, which is learning through entertainment or through leisure. Because our brain works in many ways, but largely from a focus mode and a diffuse mode. Your diffuse mode is way more powerful than your focus mode.
yeah.
That's why when you're washing or you're doing something random, you're in the bathroom and that idea.
Jeez,
Because you're finally
exactly.
giving your brain enough time to
explore.
rest and connect the dots. Not even
Exactly,
because,
connecting the
I mean,
dots.
I used to work as data scientist before. I do AI, right? Before I moved into engineering.
Yeah.
And neural networks were literally modeled after the
The brain, exactly.
right? Some of the highest performing computers in the world now were modeled after how your brain works, how it assimilates information, how it connects dots in microseconds and milliseconds. You smell something that reminds you about when you were 6 years old,
Exactly.
and something happens. That's not being so.
Our
Do you know
brain,
the
our brain is
years
like
of
our
computing
brain
it
is
took?
actually the best computer. It's just that we forget. That's the only thing.
forget.
But the amount of things that we can do as
It's
human beings is
amazing.
amazing. And that's why I'm so passionate like you. I'm so passionate about education because education is like the bedrock that gives you the possibilities are. For me, I joined so many different things together, like places from arts, places from science, places from mathematics. Like you just join them together and I'm like, oh, I can do this because of this. I can do this because of this.
Yeah.
I mean, context switching is such a beautiful thing sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Grace, I want to also ask something about your journey,
Okay.
right? I'll say, what has been your most memorable moment yet?
Wow, I think I already said that actually.
Your children?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
I feel
figured.
so. I mean, winning Fuze Talent
Yeah,
show
it was.
was
I mean,
nice. It was nice. It was exciting. It was great. But I believe personally that what really gives me joy is when I actually go to the schools and then I put up the game and then the children they lean forward and they're like, whoa, like all they see, like, wow, like just so excited. And I feel like that's actually what makes me like, I remember thinking to myself, like, this is why I'm doing this. Like the joy that it gives the children, like it's out of the world.
insane.
I mean, the money too is good too, but but yeah, I feel like more excited is the way the children receive it.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk more about your Fuse talent show. Right, how was that like? How was the process? Because I watched some of the episodes, I saw the hosts, I saw the other teams. I was like, they're mixing music, people singing, fashion and tech. I was weirded out, like, how do you objectively pick
Yeah.
a winner when you're judging across multiple fields? Right?
Okay.
But yeah, let's learn how you walk through that.
Okay, so basically, the Fierce Talent Show, they basically have like different categories, but there's a judge, like there's a main judge for each
each of
category.
them, yeah.
So I was in the tech category, and I had like a tech judge. However, like the other judges across the room would also give their feedback based on what you present. But the person that has like the ultimate power is your category judge. And you're asking about my journey. It was pitching on camera is another thing entirely. I don't think people talk about it enough. Like the pressure and like is a lot, and it was like part of a reality show. So then you have production, and then you have the competition itself. So it was very stressful. It was like a pressure cooker, basically. Like they give you feedback, you need to implement fast. Like there were some episodes that the judge commented on something I did, and then the next episode I'm like giving like if it like
Feedback
I've
on,
implemented your feedback, and I think that's one thing that the judges really loved about me, majorly because I took all their their feedback and I tried to implement it there and there, so they know like I mean business. I'm not here to count breach. Exactly.
But yeah, I think one of the best things, especially for business people, in every field anyway, but specifically business, is that feedback. Right? And it's one thing I usually struggle with a lot with people, because due to the little experience I have across things, people always hit me up with, I have this idea, I have this business idea I want to implement, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be the next big thing. And I'm like, calm down.
Unicorn.
Before you call it unicorn, how many paying customers do you have? Right? Unfortunately, many times, a lot of people don't. They don't even know what people think about it, right?
True.
They just had this epiphany in their room and they believe
everybody should love it.
The next best, right? But yeah, that's also really beautiful.
Yeah.
I think, Ibidak, what do you have any questions for her? Or should I continue?
My question is, how exactly do you run the business? Because for me, I think that has been a pressing question for me, because I'm figuring out the whole business aspects. I'm figuring out the whole business aspect, and I'm just so I know that okay, I want to do this, and this, and I'm thinking, okay, how do I know how to connect everything, but I'm thinking of how do I manage and make sure that the people I'm serving can continually see the value.
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. As regards the business side of things, I think something that has been very beneficial is joining the games community, like the gaming industry community. Because when I started Green Quest, I was in school. I had no idea how to develop a game. I don't even code, to be honest. It was just like I didn't know what I was doing, literally. And then I got like a couple of my friends. So that's bringing people together, optimizing your network. I got a couple of people together, and then I told them my idea, and they're like, okay, this is interesting. Let me see how I can support you, and then we'll be like, we'll work on this project together. And that's how we built our first prototype. And we failed a lot of times. I won a grant back in school, but we used that for like a year, and we failed. But one thing that kept me back up was because I knew like I had a passion. Like I wanted to do something that was different. A lot of people know games. A lot of people have heard about climate change maybe, but there's no intersection between them. And most times, anytime I go to like a room of investors, they're always like, okay, I hear you, but like, how do I get my money back? They're like, oh, I hear you. How do I get my money back? And then I had to think about like all points of view. Like I'm very passionate about social impact, but at the same time, what keeps the business sustainable is when you get customers. Exactly. And it kind of like also influenced the way I designed the game, because right now, if you look at the game, it looks like a very fun Afro-futuristic game. Like as a game itself, it stands, you get, in comparison to other Nigerian games. So that's something great I took, like, in terms of feedback from the investors. But at the same time, the value, like, the core of our mission is still embedded in the game. So that way, it's like a double-edged sword. It's a very good game. Definitely, when we release it, by God's grace, we get people to actually, like, use the game, and then we have the traction and the traffic we need. And then at the same time, it's still passing across the message. Everyone. And aside that, I think another thing, in terms of business, I know, like, generating funds from a game is kind of like the model is not easy because of in-app purchases, ads, and all that. And that's how we started diversifying. So apart from the video game, we have the board game as well. Exactly. So now we don't just need to rely on the traction of the technical of the app, but now people can actually purchase the board game itself. And the board game is really cool also. Like, the design is nice. So diversification.
Where can somebody get it?
It's not out yet, but definitely when it's out, I'll let you know. But you can follow us online and see what we've done so far, and then also maybe sign up for the wait list.
I'll check
Can you tell them your social media?
Okay, my social media is Grace James Official _ The for the game, it's Play Green Quest.
I would also like to tell you people my social media, because I haven't done that. So my social media is Ibidapo __. I promise you would love it. Actually, I love my TikTok more.
Oh
Yeah,
my
so my
Yeah,
TikTok,
TikTok
is
too.
Actually, I want
Grace
to be
James
like two
official
of you when I
too.
grow up.
Yeah.
You guys are always posting
Find me on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Oh my god, my LinkedIn community is so big.
Ooh.
I swear, I feel like an
I'm
influencer.
not a fan of LinkedIn. I'm not a fan of LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is good. It's good for
Cringe but good.
no, I
For
get
people
that, but
want
it's good
to-
for exposure because
Oh,
the people
yeah.
that follow me on LinkedIn is amazing. Like people from Xbox.
Ooh,
Yes, like that
Ooh, you're a
levels.
big player.
So use social media well.
Yeah, I will.
Exactly,
I
and
will.
Twitter too. I'm struggling with Twitter. Twitter is
For Twitter, to be honest, all I would
overwhelming.
say is
My
I've been called
my
the
TikTok is ibidakpo
Sorry,
dot
sorry.
ii.
sorry,
I just
sir.
remembered it.
Sorry,
yes,
sir.
that's the one I love the most. Yeah, that's my baby.
official _.
Yeah, I don't stress myself. Baseman_Olu, any social media platform, even WhatsApp. You find
Or
me
wait, Google my name. You
she-
find it.
Ah,
there. Love it.
Yeah, Grace
yeah.
James.
But yeah, it almost made me forget my train of thought. But yeah, what something she said also stood out to me, right? Mixing leisure with social impact and sustainability. A lot of people just assume that anything impact must mean charity, and charity in the traditional sense of just simple outreaches,
Yeah.
right? But it's a lot more than that. It's about making people feel like a part of the process, right? Even if you want to help people, as much as initiatives are nice to, let's say we give free clothes today, think more on how can you impact them beyond that. How many of those children are even going to school? How many of them are their parents gainfully employed, right? Or have something to work on? Because if you give them rice this Christmas, what are they going to live on for the next? I mean, they're not your responsibility technically, but try to do something more. And yeah, also try to find fun ways to do it. Like there's so many amazing solutions.
What you're trying to
and
say is
things you can
longevity,
do.
right?
Yeah, sustainability.
Like instead of you teaching and giving them fish, teach
Yeah,
them
just teach
how
them
to
how
fish.
to.
Fish.
Right, and sometimes never forget the power of interactions as well, right?
Yeah.
Like one thing, because I speak, at least I believe I speak once in a while, and like one thing that always warms my heart is when, for me, a lot of times I don't really think like what I'm saying doesn't sound spectacular to me. I find it boring. Sometimes
She
I
aspired to
question
Maguire.
girls, right? But then you get people who actually either inspired by your story or it connects to a particular hunger that is in them for something, for more, right? And you never know how far that goes. I still remember people as far back as when I was a student who came to talk to us and just expose us to like digital opportunities and just pushing us to strive for more, right? And not be limited by our society. Dream as far and wide as you can, and that goes a really long way, right? And it's also what makes the work that Grace does and what all of us do really important. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. It's been a really fun one. I'm so grateful that it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. I thought that was going to start going back and forth because he was boiling at
For
the start
those of you that are listening
episode.
on audio, I'm rolling my eyes at him.
Okay.
Please do watch on YouTube so you can feel the
passion.
exactly the passion in the room right now.
Passion.
But yeah, it was a really fun one. I can't wait for the next one so you can hear more on us. So thank you all for tuning in.
Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.